Hello lovelies, so today I'm going to be talking about jealousy's brown-eyed sister, envy. Now, what's the difference between jealousy and envy, I hear you ask? When you look them up in the dictionary, they both say something along the lines of covetous. They both mean covetous, and obviously they are interchangeable. Jealousy is usually in response or reaction to another person, and it's to the loss of something. So, for example, the loss of that person's attention or their love, often in romantic relationships, and we think somebody's going to steal someone away from us, and then that's a jealous response. Now, jealousy isn't always just about romantic relationships. For example, attending my best friend's wedding and another woman introducing herself to me as my best friend's best friend. Girl, just wait a hot minute. I might need to have a word or two with you. So it's not always about romantic relationships, but more often than not it's found there. Whereas envy is more a feeling of longing at a person's good fortune. It's a longing and a wistfulness sometimes of a life or a job or sometimes material things that you wish you had and that you haven't, or that you'd always wanted to have or do and have never been able to. There's been a lot of this around recently in both of my industries, because what's happening, of course, in the acting industry is that the business is starting to pick up again. People are starting to get jobs. They're posting on social media that they've got a job, and other people are feeling like they're, oh gosh, it's great for them and they're maybe happy for them, but why isn't it me? So I think there's a lot of that going on, and I did laugh at one friend on Twitter who posted, look, I realise that I post a lot when I've got work, but just for context, I did 4 auditions last week and I didn't get any of them. And I thought, well, that's not helping. 4 auditions. On the back of this pandemic, there's never been more work in the counselling industry than there is right now. And that's both brilliant and also very sad for the reasons that people are really struggling with their mental health. And so in some ways we don't want to see the business being really busy. Nevertheless, I've got many friends and colleagues who have got new jobs, or they're working with startups and they're starting to build these new businesses, and it's all very exciting. And we were talking a lot about this. I've been talking to friends. I've had lots of conversations over the last few weeks about this very, very thing in both industries. And I'd said to a colleague of mine, I said, I hate to feel envious because it's a very low-grade emotion. And of course, being a counsellor, she wasn't going to let me get away with that. And so she said, of course, in counselling, all feelings are equal. It doesn't matter if you're angry or sad. That's equally as valid as being happy and joyful. So she said, well, do you know, I wouldn't describe it as a low-grade emotion. She said, I just think it's, highlighting something that maybe you want, that you haven't got, but that you would like to have. And I suppose the purpose of this little video is to try and go through a little process of what you can do if you have got those feelings of envy, that feeling that, other people are moving forward in life and you're a bit stuck or nothing good's happening for you. And this feeling can happen to any of us. We see our friends' good fortune and sometimes we feel a little bit, it's all happening for them and my life's on hold. First of all, really look at, sit with that feeling of feeling envious and notice it, and really look at the circumstances. What is it? Has this person got, have they just got a new home? Have they got a new job? Have they just grabbed that great TV role that you would love to have? What is it that they've actually achieved or got or are enjoying right now that you haven't got in your life at the moment? You will have. So it's to sit with that and really think about it. Now that sounds straightforward, but it isn't necessarily. So for example, they've maybe, you see a friend of yours and she's just moved into a new home and it's all fab and they've bought the dog and it's all beautiful life. And, you're maybe not envious about the house or the dog, but it might be for you that you're thinking, oh gosh, I haven't, particularly with the pandemic, haven't had that kind of close relationship with anyone for a while. So maybe it's that part of that scenario that you're feeling. So it's about looking at the scenario and trying to discern what's going on in there that's missing for you. And then secondly, explore your own circumstances, explore your life and think about where you are and where you're up to right now. And most importantly, the decisions you made to get where you are. And particularly for actors, this is a really difficult one, because particularly for actors who, you might be doing 30 hours in Morrison's every week and it's not what you really want to be doing, but you need to pay your bills. What I would say is have a look at all the decisions you've made to get you to where you are now and to get you to be living the life you are now, and give yourself a pat on the back for that, because they were all choices and decisions that you had to make along the way. Some of them won't have been easy. Some of them will have been like pulling teeth. So, do pat yourself on the back for the choices and decisions that you have made that have got you to where you are right now. And then thirdly, have a real think about, can you change it? If you're not happy with where you are now, if that longing and envy is coming from a place where you feel, actually, God, I could have been so much closer to that if I'd only. And what is that? What is the if I'd only? Because these are the things you can change. We can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can't always just quit your job and do what you love doing. But most of us can get closer to doing more of what we like most of the time. The first thing that people get hooked on is the money aspect, is that I need X amount of pounds coming in. And when you ask when they last reviewed that, or when they looked at their incomings and outgoings, they haven't looked at it for ages. And so I'm always saying to people, just go and explore that, especially through a pandemic. We've all learned that we can live on a lot less money than we think we can. Now, if it isn't that, what also I've encouraged people to explore is they're doing the same work, but changing the hours or the shifts to make it so that they get the more free hours where they need it. So again, for actors, having those free hours in the day where you can be applying for jobs or doing your self-tapes, or those are far more useful than working all day and getting 3 hours at night. But not everybody can flip that work on its head. So maybe have a little look, explore that. Some other people, what they've done, this is particularly on the counsellors' side, some of the counsellors that I know have taken freelance work, and they earn more money per hour to do the same job freelance than they would if they were working for an organisation. So that's another way to just adjust your working practice a little bit. So there's always a little tip is to, if you can, speak to your employer, ask about flexible working, and don't forget your rights as well, your employment law rights, because especially if you've got a family, you've got a right to ask for flexible working or to change your hours. They don't have to say yes, of course, but if you don't ask the question, the answer's always no, is a motto I have. And if you're feeling that that envy, and I'm kind of down here in the stomach, because this is where you feel it. It sits in your stomach and swirls around and feels uncomfortable. So sit with that, explore it, have a look at it, and if it's really something that you think, what can I do with this, and something I really want over there, and I'm close but not as close as I'd like to be. What can I do to get closer to that? What can I change to get closer to that? What can I just tweak or adjust? And just remember that things aren't always as fixed as you think they are. If you wanted to ask me about your particular circumstances, do drop a comment below or ping me a message, and I'll see what I can do to help. All right, Thank you.